Hey, welcome back to the 30-inch step. Today I've got an old friend. We've known each other our entire lives,
Yeah.
almost. Um, I've got with us Master Sergeant John Kochenower, retired Air Force. Um, John, tell us, uh, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. I grew up here in Cincinnati. Um, Joined the Army right out of high school. I did a 3-ish year tour there. Got medically discharged. Came back to Cincinnati for 2, and decided I needed to join the military again and join the Air Force.
I bet that's an awesome transition.
Well, once you deploy in the Army and you deploy with the Air Force, you realize that the Air Force had it so much better.
Oh man, I see it now. Like going from the Marine Corps to working with the Air Force, it's a giant leap, and they have it way better. They have it way better. Um, tell me a little bit about like your influences. Like what what made you decide to join the service, let
Right.
alone the Army, and then transition to the Air Force.
Yeah, so growing up, everybody goes to college. Well, I wasn't a fan of school. Um, GI Joe was a cartoon. It sounded cool. My stepdad was a Marine. Did 3 tours in Vietnam. Grandfather was a
Hoorah!
grandfather was a B-17 pilot. 33 missions
Wow,
over Germany. Um,
that's that's quite the influence.
my grandmother, who he married, was an Army nurse. Took care of the wounded.
Wow.
And my father was a Navy corpsman.
Oh wow.
So most of all the men in the family were military, and it just felt right.
Wow. Well, and I mean, where we grew up in Cincinnati, having Memorial Day and seeing
Yeah.
these guys stand out there, for me it was, especially seeing my grandfather
Hmm.
in his uniform in pictures, and he didn't talk too much about it, right?
Right.
Um, but seeing him in his uniform and then subsequently being buried in his uniform, it was like I I want to serve my country. That
Right.
was a
Right.
that was a huge thing. Even my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Woods.
I had Mrs. Woods.
Yeah, she was a World War II veteran.
Really?
I saw her out. I saw her out at the Memorial Day thing while I was in my broken service,
Wow.
and me and my wife, my fiance at the time, were standing there, and she's sitting there in a wheelchair
Oh my.
with her auxiliary hat on.
Right.
And
Right.
I was just like blown away.
Wow.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
Mind blown.
And we didn't even know.
And we didn't even know. We didn't even know. Um, so with those influences being that way, um, now you're in the army,
Yep.
late '90s.
Yep.
So pre 9/11.
Pre 9/11.
So it was a lot of pomp and stance. Was it a lot of what was your service like in the late '90s?
So Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Um, Delta 313 graduated basic training on actually March 13th. 313. Irony, right? And then I go off to Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep. But you're in the army, so it's not that cool.
Well, I
So
mean, did you catch the Masters?
I heard of it. We were in Charlie Rock, so we were
Okay,
locked down a lot.
gotcha.
Um, but yeah, so that was to be a 31 uniform, which is a SINGARS radio operator. Um, 31 uniform in the army. If people can relate, the U stands for you do everything in the comm world. Crypto to
Oh
computers.
yeah.
We're talking 9/11 up. Sorry, not 9/11. Y2K upgrades. I don't know if you remember that. Everybody's running around, make sure their clocks on their computers work. If it turns to 2000, what happens? Right? Are we going to go back in time? Lots of training, Grafenwehr, Hohensfeld. You're in the tank pits. You're with the artillery.
So, okay, being late 90s, I mean, we had only been out of quote unquote the Cold War for
10 years.
not even 10 years. At the point in your career that
Right.
you were in Germany, what was post Cold War Germany like? I mean, of course, the wall is gone.
Right.
What were you able to make it up to like Berlin and see?
Did not make it to Berlin. If we weren't training or rolling out somewhere, we were cutting loose there
Yeah, yeah.
in Heidelberg.
Oh, Heidelberg.
Um,
Oh, the beer.
there's a Darmstadt Schwinbad Club, where you can go drink yourself a cola beer. I was like, what the heck is a cola beer?
Oh, yeah,
That's for
yeah.
them young kids.
The mezzo mix
Right.
kind
I
of
was
beer, and
like,
you're like, this is it's a Radler. It's
yeah.
disgusting.
It was Red Bull and vodka before it was Red Bull and vodka, right?
Yeah, no, it's totally gross.
And so, but Heidelberg was, I started out in a motor pool, and we just got this new Bose 3 headset system for all the 577 command tracks. So I got to rewire all these 577 command tracks and Humvees, Deuce and a Halves, 5 tons, 5-ton records, Emmett records.
So you're pretty much program of record is changing, and you're having to retrofit all the new equipment into the new truck, all the trucks,
all the
Wow.
new trucks. And the motor pool was a small battalion, special troops battalion, STB BMO. We had everything from generator mechanics to track mechanics to cooks, the Yankees, the supply troops, and we were led by a warrant officer who was a real hard-nosed guy. We ran every day. You know how it is.
Oh yeah, PT. You're getting up first thing in the morning. You're
yeah.
Hey guys, we're gonna do calisthenics and then
Right.
on a run.
And so, but I was young, 18. Conforming was definitely not the easiest thing, but I never got in trouble. Not in real trouble, No Article 15s,
You're not getting ninja punched.
Right. And then there was an opportunity to go work for a colonel. Be his RTO, radio transmit operator, drive him around, lead the headquarters in all radio comms. Because in our unit, there was myself. Time was a E3, and my boss was a staff sergeant E6, and the motor pool slot was billeted for an E4. So once you're there, I mean, are you going to promote? So going up and working for the colonel, hey, you're kind of stepping out of your grade. You get promoted to E4 a little bit early, which is nice. A little extra pay.
Sure.
I didn't have to share a room anymore with anybody, which was nice. I got to be on the second floor of the nice German barracks.
That was the best feeling ever.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, I don't have to share
a little bit of privacy.
Yeah.
But then you're working. Like when you work for a special forces colonel, you're working 24/7.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
You got a radio, a pager, whatever. And so, fast forward, we had a 3-star that was pretty awesome. Did good things, but spent a lot of time in Graf, Hohensfeld, training.
Out in the field all the time.
And then you go do some stuff with the Air Force. They say, hey, we want you to maintain this Air Force equipment, Harris HF radios.
Sure.
As a young E4, you're thinking to yourself, well, why can't they maintain the radios? They're the smart guys.
I started out on a Prick 104.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I saw that radio a number of years later
Yeah.
in a museum, and automatically wanted to pull out my cane and, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely looking back at all the radio
Yeah.
systems that I've touched over the years, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, that thing's so old.
Right. And then I think it was around 98, there was an Egyptian embassy bombing, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
And a lot of Germany went to Delta.
So everything kind of shifted
Yeah.
mission wise.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It went to Delta. And so before that, we were in Alpha. You could drive onto a base without being waved on or ID. That all ended then.
gotcha.
And so things, it was like being in a war, right? And you're like, oh, this is my real taste of it. And you're working a 24-hour shift, and then it turns into a 72-hour shift. And then they're like, hey, you need to get some rest, but you're the only comm guy for the battalion.
So you're always on call.
And so your staff sergeant E6 is, all right, go get back up. Time for you to go out and work again. And you're monitoring all the radio traffic, taking notes, salute reports. Weird guy in the corner in a white sedan, taking pictures of the fencing.
Oh wow.
All right, whiskey team, you need to go out. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. You
Go
give them,
yeah.
right.
Wow.
And so you're monitoring all the traffic coming in, coming out, and compartmentalizing. Writing it down, because we didn't. We had PCs, but it wasn't like the PCs we have today. So it's all handwritten.
Sure.
Chicken scratch.
Sure. Oh,
right.
right. What were we taking notes on? Yellow Canary.
Yeah.
Yellow Canary.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the Skillcraft pen.
Yeah.
The black. I still have the black Skillcraft pens.
They still have Skillcraft pens.
And they work like a champ.
They do.
Yeah.
And even when they're wet.
Yeah. Built. And
but the $10 pen that I got at Office Max is dead after like 3 days.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when we were talking before, you had said something about getting injured.
Yep.
So the tell me a little bit about how now you're in Germany and you get injured.
Yeah.
Walk me through how the injury led you back to the States.
So, jacked up my knee pretty bad. Wake up in a hospital, and there's my mom. Just like Back to the Future. Now. And you're like, huh? Where am I? Pinch me. Right?
Mom?
Right? Morphine does things to a human's brain that, you wake up, and then you look down, and you have a halo gate on your knee, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Right? And so then you're in a hospital for a few months, learning how to walk again. Cracked the patella in half, ruptured the patella tendon. And then was discharged. Right? And then
was that like just honorable discharge, or was that a medical discharge?
It was an honorable discharge, but medical, MEB, med board.
Okay, so like for the Marine Corps, right? So let's say you get separated,
right,
for a medical purpose.
Right.
Usually that's like an RE3P or some sort, like I don't know what it is for the other services. I think it's still the same.
So it was an honorable discharge. It says honorable on the bottom, but then there are re-entry codes.
Yeah, and that's yeah.
And on my DD-214, the re-entry code was JFM, and that stood for, after we looked it up, because I tried to get back in the military.
Yeah.
JFM stood for he can return at 2 years or earlier with a waiver.
So basically enough time to
rehabilitate. Right. So, and when I was discharged with a 30% temporary disability rating. And that disability rating, as you improve, goes away.
Gotcha.
And so then they deem me as, you're 100% good to go. I'm tending bar, lifting kegs.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
and that had to have been because of what you were doing in the army in Germany.
Yeah.
And now you're plucked from. I mean, let's be honest. When a military member leaves service, I feel as though, at least for myself, there's routines that are built into your day, right? I still get up at like my internal alarm goes off at like 5 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
So even if I go to bed at 11 o'clock, my brain's like, time to go.
Yeah.
And I'm up and
Absolutely.
usually out the door between 5:30 and 6.
Yeah.
And so, like, how does that play into now? I've just been plucked from service early, medically. I have to rehabilitate. I have to find a job. I have to be able to take care of myself because I was doing it before.
Right.
I don't want to move in back in with mom and dad, that kind of thing. Right?
Absolutely not.
And so, how did that play in your psyche? Did you feel left behind? Did you feel like I can't fully integrate with the people around me, the guys and gals that I grew up with?
Yeah, so I think it was beneficial that I was younger, and I'd only spent about 3 years doing the Army. But unfortunately, my friends were juniors and or seniors in college, and so now I'm a freshman. And, freshmen do stupid things like, hey, I can come here and party and have a few cocktails. And
I may have done that.
Cut loose.
At
And
the University of Cincinnati a few times.
Yep. I was down at the Mad Frog. Rest in peace. It's no longer there.
Yeah, I saw that. They tore that building down, actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a funny history with that we could talk about sometime. But the gentleman that actually owned Mad Frog used to own the Pizza Hut on Hunt Road in Blue Ash. His name was Iden. And I was a 16-year-old pizza delivery driver.
Oh, so
So I worked for him, and then
so
I came back.
He knew your work ethic.
Ish, I guess. But then I said, hey, I'm back from the Army. And he's like, you want a job? And I was like, yeah, when do I start?
Yes, I do.
And, getting out of the Army was culture shock in the sense of I'm fending for myself in a world that I wasn't really trained for.
And I think the services, because even for myself, when I got out in 2005, my broken service time, I was told by some of the major cellular companies at the time, oh, you're not going to have a hard time, like the classes and stuff that they make you go through, right? And they're like, oh, you're going to have no problem. Your resume is perfect.
Yeah.
And then they're telling me in interviews that I'm overqualified, or, well, do you have a degree? No, I don't.
Yeah.
But I have all this experience.
Right.
I can't really talk about it. I can't really tell you the places that I've been, things like that. But I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I get it. They have gotten better about that.
Well, in the 90s and early 2000s, like they didn't have. So when I retired,
I didn't have this.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When I retired in 19, they had TAPS, Transition Assistance Program.
Yeah.
In the Army in 1999, there was no TAPS. Your medical board, bye. You're dead weight. We're cutting
just
the fat.
Wow.
Right. And then for you in 2005, I mean,
it was tap and tamp.
Right.
And the transition assistance, I can't even remember what the MP was.
Yeah.
But now it's TRS.
Yeah.
Transition Readiness Seminar.
Yeah.
They make it sound cool.
It was what was funny is when I was getting on my plane to go home from Germany the first time, my platoon was deployed to unknown regions,
Sure.
and the retention NCO drove me to the airport.
Oh, wow.
Because that's all that was left in garrison, right?
Yeah.
And you think to yourself,
what is he going to do?
Right? You know, he's the guy that can offer you, hey, if you re-enlist for 4 years, we'll give you Germany again. We'll give you 50,000. That's what they did.
Yeah, yeah.
They wheeled and dealed back then.
Yeah. But you can't.
But I couldn't.
So,
right? But coming back, it's like you're a kid again, you know, with no direction and no purpose because nobody's telling you, show up here at 5 o'clock.
We're gonna work out. We're gonna.
You're not
gonna go to chow. You're gonna work.
Shower,
you're gonna do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I have to hold myself accountable as a 21-year-old,
Hey.
fresh out of the military.
So you have the discipline to do it, but now you don't have the
purpose.
Right.
The purpose is gone. And with that said, you know, my mom she was tough on me in a good way. She goes, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll make sure you have a full belly. Good on you, Mom.
Hey, thanks.
Because she saw my patterns, and after about a year and a year and a half, she said, what are you doing with your life? And guess who didn't have an answer? I didn't have an answer that I was proud of. I had an answer. I made money. I'm doing
just fine.
I lived with 4 of my high school buds.
Yeah.
But they were graduating. They were, you know.
You're about to be alone again.
One of my friends is a PhD cancer researcher tenured at University of Louisville.
Oh, wow.
Another one's an architect in Arizona. Another one works here as a graphic designer making good money. Another one works up in Dayton doing houses. Another one's at GE Aerospace.
Yeah.
Right? And you're thinking to yourself, man, what would my life have been like if I just did the college route?
Yeah.
But I knew school wasn't for me at the time. And so that transition back was, okay, when my mom told me, what are you doing with your life? And I didn't have an answer. That was my purpose. She gave me that purpose. And I initially signed up for Cincinnati Police. I had an academy date of April of 01. Coincidence. I tried to get back in the Army 7 times to MEPS, 7 times disqualified, pre-existing knee injury.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that before with a lot of guys trying to go back, and
it wasn't PTSD. It wasn't, marijuana. It wasn't drugs. I didn't have any of those things. Right.
It was the injury, and they saw that RE,
JFM code,
and they said, nope,
we're not going to give you a waiver to come in early. And guess what?
Again, is before 9/11 when they started going.
Yeah.
We'll take everybody.
Right. And so the biggest thing with the Army is they also didn't want to pay to retrain me because they didn't think that I could carry 2 SINGAR radios, 4 batteries, 2 whip antennas, 4 hand mics, all the gear, and drag it around country, mount, dismount, Humvee, Hemet. At the time now, they're MRAP, and so this crusty old Master Sergeant Sean Reich, was my Air Force savior.
I think you just got called out, brother. If you ever listen to this, you leave a comment.
I hope he's still alive, because he was an older fellow. I haven't found him. But I did send him an email when I got into the Air Force. But he said after 3 trips of getting disqualified by the Air Force, he goes, I didn't tell you this, son. You need to write your congressman. But don't put my name in it.
I didn't tell you nothing.
And so I wrote Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and a Pennsylvania military liaison. And this was back when email was in its infancy.
Yeah.
There was no spell check. Here's little me with a dictionary, making sure I'm spelling it properly.
I'm going to make this look really good.
And I sent it off. And about 2 weeks later, I get a call from my recruiter. He goes, hey, are you good to go to MEPS on Thursday? This is like a Monday. I'm like, yeah, but I'm just going to get disqualified again. He's like, dude, whatever you did, it put up a storm.
When you get a congressman involved,
Yep. So
It moves mountains
an
amongst
official
the military members.
congressional inquiry was posted, and the Surgeon General of the Air Force comes down to the Columbus maps and says, if you pass an Army physical, you're in. Duck walk, 12-mile-an-hour stress test on a treadmill, lift the 50-pound deadlift over your weight. The Air Force is like a smaller weight.
Sure.
Air Force doesn't duck walk. And let me tell you, at the time when I joined the Air Force, they didn't run or do a treadmill either. They rode a bike for a PT test.
I saw that a couple of times.
And so that's a good transition of I transitioned into the Air Force in April of 2001. I initially went to Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas. Oh, yeah, Texas. I don't know. Wichita Falls, Texas. And I was going to be a 1A5 Airborne Mission System guy, AWACS.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so you go through the flight school, you do all that stuff, and you take the final test, and they give you a piece of paper that says, hey, we need you to sign this. So what is this? This is you need to volunteer for aircrew. I said, why do I volunteer? Mind you, in the same class, you got aerial gunners on the helicopters.
You're used to the Army telling you,
right,
hey, this is what you're going to do. Just sign this.
And so this is my first choice.
So, again, some of the people that may see this might not understand. You didn't have to go through
basic training.
Like,
correct.
Was there like, did they give you like a crash course in, hey, this is Air Force, this is rank structure, this is...
They didn't.
But this is Air Force instructions.
I can get to my first Air Force duty station about that, and that'll tickle some people. But what I was signing was volunteering for aircrew duty. I said, well, why would I? If I don't volunteer, what happens? They said, well, they'll probably kick you out. They might retrain you, but they'll probably kick you out. And I was like, oof. So I look at the tech sergeant and I said, hey, man, what's up with AWACS? And I said, he goes, what do you mean? I said, have any of them ever crashed? He goes, yes. And I said, did all the people survive? He goes, yes. And I said, how did they crash? He goes, bird strikes. And I was like, excuse me? He goes, geese went through the engine, they crashed, I said, so if I sign this, what does that mean? He goes, well, on the bird is all TSSCI equipment. I said, okay. He goes, well, when the plane goes down, you got to destroy all the equipment. I said, well, are there parachutes? He goes, no. I said, well, how do you plan on destroying all the equipment if you are in a plane full of fuel and electronics?
Yeah, well, kaboom.
Right? People talk about 9/11 airplane crashes. It brings on a whole building. That's a story for another day. But
yeah.
Let me tell you a thing. If jet fuel and electronics mix, you're not making it out.
No.
And so
No.
I declined. He goes, I'm sorry to do that. And when I declined, 2 other younger airmen, they declined. And they looked at me like, we wasted all this time and money on you. I'm like, that's not cool. So I got retrained into what was called meteorological navigation.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Which is all the equipment on an airfield that provides the weather forecasters, air traffic control.
So kind of a weather radar
sort of
thing.
So an example is every airport has a 3-digit code. Cincinnati, CVG.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Las Vegas, LAS. Los Angeles, LAX. Right? So that's their navigation beacon. So the pilot will say, hey, I want to go to Las Vegas. So they put LAS in, and their transponder will tell them this is where to go.
Okay.
So I would calibrate that equipment.
Okay.
And then when you land on the runway, there's something called a glide slope, and that tells the aircraft the descent angle, usually about 3 degrees descent to touchdown to runway. And then there's this other one called a localizer, which tells the aircraft's instruments if they're left, right, or center of the runway.
And this is like an international kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, right. In Germany, the Europeans use ICAO standards, a different standard, but same.
Sure.
So that pilots can fly in inclement weather. So, like, let's say the visibility is 200 feet, they can still touch down the runway. There's different categories of touchdown.
So each trigraph is going to have, okay, the runway is at this azimuth, it's
Yep.
at this angle,
Right.
it's at this elevation,
based off barometric pressure.
Sure, and this is what the atmospherics are like.
Yes.
At that location.
Right. And then I calibrate all that equipment, all the weather equipment. You got laser salometers, which tell you cloud height, temperature dew point, humidity, RH sensors, all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Lightning sensors, everything. Right. Anything you think of that's weather, it's on the airfield. I would technically calibrate, perform maintenance, etc. So fast forward to my first duty station. I get there and I'm with these I'm brand new. I'm a senior airman in the Air Force.
But you're much older than
I'm older.
The average.
Yeah,
airman.
older now, 23-ish, right? And I got these younger A1Cs, and I come up in the Army structure of, you're an E4, you're in charge of the E3s.
And
right?
It is that is a huge culture shock for someone who's been hooing it up,
right?
For
hey, private, take out the trash. You take out the trash, you come back. What's next?
I'm not doing that.
I'll get to that one. So I go through tech school in Keesler Air Force Base, Biloxi, Mississippi. I was like 8 or 9 months, and then but in that time, all the old school senior NCOs, E7s, E8s, like, hey, Buck Stars, how you doing? I looked at your Army records. Man, you did a lot of stuff, blah blah blah, and you're gonna be the class leader. I'm like, okay, now I'm in charge of a bunch of young, kids that might have been or may not have been spoon fed.
Grow where you're planted.
Right?
It's time to lead,
right?
Sink or swim.
And there was a young airman there. We had a class of about 6. It was a pretty small class.
Yeah.
And we had 2 civilians, and there was a trash cycle. Airman 1, you get trashed the whole week. Airman 2, you get trashed that week. So on and so on as a repeat.
Sure.
I took first week because leaders lead.
Right.
So it gets to, I'm not going to say their name because they might watch. I get to Airman Smith's week. I said, hey.
We always use Lance Corporal Schmuckatelli.
Yeah, Schmuckatelli. So, and it's a gal. And I said, hey, it's your turn this week. She goes, F you. And in my head, I'm like,
no.
In my head, I got a couple different angels and demons.
And you're turning red.
And I'm like, I'm in the Air Force now. How does this work?
And that's why I asked you the question of,
right,
did
the culture shock.
Did they at least like?
No,
they just
throw you to the
wolves. You're just in there, man.
Yeah, and so I said again, Airman Smith, it's your turn to take out the trash this week. Everybody else has done it before you, including myself. It's your turn. You're part of the team. F you and F the team. Luckily, Master Sergeant.
I'm turning red.
Master Sergeant Troncoso overheard what was going on. He walked in and he calls the class to attention.
No, I bet that answer changed real quick.
He puts me at parade rest. Kochenower, what the is going on here? Airman Smith doesn't want to take out the trash. He's like, that's what I heard. And in the Air Force, there's phases. You get privileges with certain phases.
Yep.
And she was
I remember that when I was in Pensacola and seeing the Air Force go through all that.
She was in phase 3. She could wear civilian clothes and go off base, go to the mall, do whatever people do. He goes, give me your 341. It's day 1, phase 1 for you.
I saw that at Goodfellow too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. They had to have it in their pocket.
yeah.
And
So he pulled me aside, told me I need to be tougher. I need to lay into it. I'm like,
Roger that.
okay, thanks for the ROEs. Gotcha, right? The rest of tech school went great. I get to my first duty station and I meet a guy by the name of Terry. And at the beginning of our tour together, we weren't best of friends, right?
Yeah.
I was the senior airman that came in, and there's these two A1Cs, but they've been on the job for a long time. And because they've been on the job a long time, they know more than me. But in the Air Force, it's not about your rank, it's about what you know.
I I feel that amongst the occupational field that I was
Right.
in, because it was you could have had a lance corporal that
Yeah.
knew more than a sergeant,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes to that line of work,
Right.
it's um if you don't have the right answer,
Mm-hmm.
that could mean someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I get it.
So I had to sort out my path there. Um, they kind of they kind of told the person in charge, who was a civilian, retired chief, but was a civilian. This is my first time working for a civilian in the military. I'm like, what the is this?
How does this work?
Right?
Yeah,
And
no,
so
that was another big culture shock for me.
and so and so Mr. Morris was tough on me, which was good. He made me work, made me earn my keep. And then fast forward, I go to Germany, do great. Talk to a chief named Bob, and he goes, "Hey man, um, I know you're not happy. Have you thought about retraining?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So I put in for intelligence, medical. I wanted to be a medical. I wanted to be a radiographer, do X-rays and MRIs and nuclear medicine. A, because it paid well, but B, you're in a hospital and air conditioning. I didn't want to be in.
Ooh,
I didn't want to be in the desert anymore.
yeah, I
I didn't want to be on the airfield.
I hear you.
Right. But I ended up getting 1N1, which is imagery analyst. Now it's a geospatial analyst or
What
something.
was that? What is the unit? Was it the 315th?
Maybe.
Good,
It was
good
that. It
buddy.
was. It was a. Yeah, it was that good fellow.
Good fellow Air Force Base in
Um,
Texas.
and so I'll go through tech school, and everybody gets diverted to Creech, and I'm the last survivor. I had orders to Beale, to DCGS out there at Beale, and then 2 days before graduation, they said, "Guess what? You're going to Creech too." And I'm like,
Thanks.
because Creech, you become a sensor operator.
Did did you end up going there because they were getting ready to deploy and they probably needed people?
So,
Like a needs the Air Force kind of thing.
right. So at the time, the Air Force was getting all the 1 Alpha air crew guys. Where it was kind of like a special duty for them. But in their think tank minds, they said, "Oh, well, all these imagery analysts can be sensor operators. They have already looked and prosecuted all these maps and data. Why not do it full motion video, real
Oh,
time?
God, yeah.
That way, we have DCGS inside of the box, right?"
Gotcha.
And so, go through training, end up going to 17 RS, and they're the best of the best. They're the bulls. Um, they are the NASCAR of hunting.
Right on.
And
So, it was it at that what year are we talking here?
so this is 2009.
Okay, so you hadn't deployed uh, like um sandbox.
Yeah.
We call it
Yeah.
um to this point.
Not in the Air Force.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And so now, without going too elaborate, we were min-manned, right? You have what's called crew rest, which is 12 hours. You can enter the door at noon, but you have to be out the door by midnight.
Gotcha. So your turnover with
Right. Or
you're
else,
on Alpha shift, he's
right.
on Bravo shift
Or
is
you
pretty
can't,
quick.
yeah, or you can't fly, right? Because if you
Sure.
break crew rest, then your ORM, your operational risk management factors,
It
physiologically, it's not safe for you to
right,
button
right.
out. You might make a mistake.
Well, and for the Marine Corps side, um, you know, we took a lot from the air side
Right.
of the
Right.
Marine Corps for operational risk management
Mm-hmm.
because we were
Right.
starting to see like, hey, we're sending Lance Corporal Schmuckatelli out like all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, he's gonna kill somebody
Yeah. Or himself.
or himself, right?
Yeah. And so we, because our personnel was so low, we actually had 3 shifts. There were 8-hour flying shifts, but we'd rotate, right? And then
Gotcha.
every 5 to 6 weeks, you'd rotate shifts from days to swings to mids. So your circadian rhythm's getting jacked up, right? So 5 weeks from now, you're working 4 to midnight, and then 5 weeks from then, you're working midnight to 8.
and,
But
and so you're rolling into, yeah, I think deployments. I think
it's a
how
365 in garrison deployment.
oh,
For most people, it was 4 years. Oh,
oh like straight doing
4
that.
years of straight prosecuting targets.
Now, okay, because that I feel like it opens a whole other can of worms then
Right.
as far as not even post traumatic because that's a different realm of things, but
Right.
it adds a layer of stress, kind of like think of your ATCs, your
Right.
the guys that are sitting in those towers
Right.
like directing traffic
Pushing
kind of
10.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you think how I mean, you look at our current situation
Mm-hmm.
as far as systems and what we're going through with the FAA
Mm-hmm.
trying to update a lot of these systems,
That are. Yeah.
and the ATCs are just burn out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're doing this for 4 years. I'm burnt out after a year.
Well, and I would tell my wife I would have rather done a 365 to the sandbox because I know that I can come home and leave it.
Yeah, yeah.
There you have to wake up, shit, shower, shave, drive to work an hour, get there an hour before shift so you can brief all the upcoming TTPs.
How do you unwind?
You work yourself to the bone, right? And what happens is if you can sleep, you sleep. Um, my outlet was movie theaters.
I mean, that's better than in an ARI, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So alcohol related
yeah,
incident.
yeah,
For those who don't know, um, you know, I had Marines in that I was in charge of that,
yeah.
you know, some guys like to drink, some guys like to drink and get in fights, and
Absolutely.
um, I saw some of my friends get not kicked out, but
Yeah,
not able to reenlist because
they weren't recommended for it, or
they
yeah,
they like to scrap,
yeah,
but they also like
yeah,
to drink. That kind of thing. So it was. I can
yeah.
only imagine for a job like that what that does to your psyche, what that does to your like y- all work and no play makes Brian a dull boy. That kind of thing, right? Like,
Well, yeah, and we were doing sometimes, initially we're doing 5 days on, 2 days off, which sounds good. But on day 6, you have to maintain crew rest, so you can't cut loose.
yeah.
And with crew rest means you can't take Robitussin. You can't take anything but a Tylenol, like because
Oh,
you're PRP. So anything that can physiologically change your mood, or you can't do that stuff, right? Except for like
wow.
let's say day 6 or 7, whatever day. But people, yeah, people did. they'd go on benders. But at the same time, every time you employed at the debrief, everybody's passing around some shots or some beers.
Yeah.
And then you drive home an hour, and here I am, a pretty responsible NCO. I'm going, those are my airmen. How are they getting home? Oh, they'll be fine.
You don't have to worry about
Right.
that. They're good.
And you get these young kids, and even myself as an quote unquote old head. I mean, once you see what you see, you can't unsee it.
Take we in the military talk about we're the cross section of America. We're the melting pot. We're the
1%.
Yeah, and we integrate. I don't feel like I'll ever fully integrate back into civilian life. One, because I'm a Marine and it just doesn't go away. But
Yeah.
it almost feels like the stressors that were manufactured from service, right?
Yeah.
And I know all 4 services go through it.
Yeah.
We manufacture our own stress, and it's so ingrained in us that we come back, and I feel like it's almost created a I have to have stress. If I don't, then I'm not living, right? Like,
yeah, for me it was once I quit flying drones, I PCS to Security Hill, and everything slowed down. So I wasn't looking through a straw anymore. Now I was looking big picture ISR for the world. Right?
yeah,
Not just the AOR I was in.
Strategic level,
right?
Processes,
and when you're in that NASCAR, you're taking 250-mile left-hand turns all day, and it stops. You have to start to process everything that you did, everything that you saw, and maybe you can attest to this. Growing up in the era that we grew up, rub some dirt on it, walk it off.
You get over it.
You're a man.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, our grandparents were World War II.
Yeah.
Our parents were
Vietnam. Yeah.
And in some cases, our older siblings were
yeah.
In Iraq in the early 90s.
Yeah.
In some cases,
Desert One.
But now we're thrust into it, and you want to be. I wanted to be there. Like,
yeah.
I was so happy that I was able to sign that dotted line.
Yeah.
But I fast forward to now, and the things that I went through over my career, right?
Mm-hmm.
The combat, the leadership, even, and you have some good, you have some bad, and then I start seeing my brothers and sisters, and since I've retired 3 years ago, I've lost 10 Marines that I knew in some capacity who have committed suicide.
Yeah.
And it all circles back to their deployment times, and then they just didn't feel like they were heard.
Right. Yeah, so 2014, due to a series of personal life events, I decided to self-identify and say, hey, I think I got something wrong in my cranium. Something in my nugget ain't right. And I poured it all out on this poor E3, shed some tears. And
you're a tech sergeant at this point?
I was a tech sergeant, right? And, civilian walks in and goes, hey, I'm going to need to keep you here for observation, blah, blah, blah. You've got
you said, I think we talked about it. It's either you said the right thing at the wrong time, or you said the wrong thing at the right time.
I probably.
How do you see it now?
Now I said, I wish I would have come out earlier that I had something going on. but it took a very special person in my life for me to realize that I had something going on. And if I didn't do something, the world was going to cave in. And I was probably going to be one of those 22 a day.
Yeah. I never had any of those thoughts, and I think I leaned on my faith
Yeah.
and trying to make sense of it all. And I kept coming back to because he,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he. And I kept saying that because he.
Right.
And then trying to think positive, and it was always like, I'm such an idiot. I'm such a failure. I'm such a, right?
Yeah.
I'm an
Yeah.
idiot. I'm a failure. I'm a moron. I'm this,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm never going to be.
I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm a bad person, you know. And when I talked to the first person that I really opened up to, she asked me, "Where do you want to go with this therapy?" I said, "I want to go back to being the young, naive little boy I used to be." She goes, "You are that boy, but that little boy will be a part of you, but so will all the other events." And so her name was Deanna Campbell, and she's the one that actually got me off meds. And I did an intensive outpatient therapy without meds. I specifically requested, if I'm going to do this, can I
Why
do it
do I need
without any
medication?
medicine?
Yeah.
Because if talking about it is the solution, let's make it the solution. And so I have some OCD. You know, it helps keep some of the things in
I
check.
think, I feel like, especially with military members, we all have that.
Yeah.
In some
Hyper.
form or
It's hyper
fashion, right?
awareness.
Yeah, right.
Right.
We're already hypersensitive to attention to detail.
Right. And you know, we're hyper aware, we're hyper alert, and the checklist in my head keeps me sane. You know, I get in the car, turn off auto start stop, make sure the seatbelt's buckled, make sure that temperature set just right. You know, just put it on the right radio channel
So
for the mood.
One of the exercises that they do, and I've seen YouTube videos on this where, I want you to tell me everything you do
Yeah.
from the time you wake up to the time you leave for work. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, I get up, I brush my teeth. No.
Everything.
So your alarm goes off. What do you do?
Yeah.
I get up and I go brush my teeth and
Yeah.
take a shower. No, I want you to tell me every
Absolute detail.
single thing you do.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Yeah.
holy cow. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like, I open my eyes,
Yeah.
I roll over, I reach my hand over, I
Yeah.
grab the phone, I turn it off.
And so, and through this therapy, you know, a couple other good leaders were there to help me. But there was a light colonel who said, "You're going to get medically discharged. We're going to med board you, and you're going to go be a civilian." As a 15-year tech sergeant, I was like, "How am I going to provide for my family? How do I do this as a man? I'm good at this in the military. I'm just not good at balancing everything that I'm asked to do with my civilian life." You know, they say Uncle Sam didn't issue you a wife or kids. You heard that?
I think I've heard that a
Right.
couple
And
hundred
so,
times.
and then a couple of smart people came and said, you know, you're going to take that uniform off, and the military is going to be behind your families for forever. I was like, holy crap, you're right.
How am I going to do this?
And so I went through the therapy. I'm still going through therapy. One of my outlets is the VA. Some of my other outlets are a few buddies around the military that do similar things like this. Remote Warrior LLC is another group that has started. Primarily, it started with another sensor operator who's a very smart man, Tanner Yackley. You can find him out on the interwebs. But when I hear a message, I'm like, I need to jump in on this. One of my, after Lackland and some self-help, I got stationed back at Nellis, which put me 40 miles from where I used to do the drone stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so my wife and I took a drive up there because I needed some closure. And, you could ask her. She probably saw my posture and my body and probably heard my breathing. And, I got emotional. Hey, this is where I used to do that stuff. But I couldn't tell her all the stuff I did, right?
Right.
And, I've let her in on some of the details, but the biggest fear is he a monster? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, because your fight or flight, fawn, other things, um, you can't really control that,
Right.
right? And so I became an RTA, which is a resiliency trainer. So in order to combat PTSD, learn how to be resilient and teach others to be resilient and tell your story over and over and over. So hopefully it saves one
Yeah.
or
Well,
50
and that
or
it
100.
again, and I go back to faith.
Right.
I go back to Christ, because if I can bring one
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
my brothers or sisters to God and show them I'm not a perfect person. I am the worst sinner of sinners a lot of days, and I fall short of the glory of God. And I try like this.
Mm-hmm.
We the name of the show,
Right.
right? We we forget how to step together.
Mm-hmm.
How to how do we sharpen iron? Iron sharpens iron. How do we take care of each other and take the 30-inch step together? And I feel like what we're doing right here
Yeah.
is that. And this is how we
I think it's how we get the voice out there, because there are people sitting at home thinking to themselves, God, I wish I had somebody to talk to.
yeah, man. And anybody. I You knew me as the shy
Yeah.
younger brother of the loudest jarhead in the world, Steve Griffith. Hey, Steve. Um, and
Yeah.
when we're both in service to this country,
Yeah.
and you get us two together, and we're just two happy jarheads making stupid jokes and get my mom to laugh, and
Yeah.
we've seen some stuff, we've done
Yeah.
some stuff,
Absolutely.
um, but we still have a grounding in our faith.
Yeah.
And uh, I hope that this show, because it helps me, because then hearing someone else's story, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point behind it, is trying to help somebody else that may be having
Right.
negative thoughts of themselves, and they're not allowing those thoughts out.
Right. And there's no rule book or recipe for success. Like we talked earlier about, some people use the VA. Some people despise the VA, right? And I said that no VA is not all VAs are created equal,
And
right?
you're 100% on that.
And with that said, is I talk to a gal named Terry every few months, and she keeps me in check. I bring her some problems. She brings me some problems. We provide solutions together so that we understand. Um, but that's what's working ish, right? And then now, getting back together with you, and there's other vets, and as we talked earlier about faith, um, I've through some coworkers and my wife predominantly.
It's usually that way. Mine brought me to
She's been pushing it on me for a while, because she knows that it'll be better for me, but it'll better for us, better for our family.
better. Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been semi-reluctant because every time that I've gone, I always feel like it's about me.
It talks, the
Right.
scripture talks right to you, brother.
And, you know, when the tears fall down your face, all my life, most of my adult professional life, suck up the tears. Don't feel.
Think of this one.
Yeah.
Barabbas,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, they're him and Jesus are standing up there with Pilate, and there's a preacher that talks about Barabbas, and I mean the name Barabbas, Bar Abbas, means son of father, right? Well, you've got the Son of the living God, Jesus, and Barabbas, son of the Father.
Yeah.
One is holy.
Yeah.
The other is demon possessed
Right.
and a murderer and an insurrectionist, and he's doing all these bad things.
Yeah.
And Jesus just stood there. And I'm Barabbas. You're Barabbas.
Yeah.
Go live your life. Go.
Right.
But don't forget about me.
Right.
And what I did on
Free
the cross.
Free will.
And that brings me like delight.
Yeah.
Because now I'm living for him.
Yeah.
Because I know where I'm going. I said it at my dad's funeral, actually, where he'd always say DDAS, don't do anything stupid, right? And but when we left the houses, you know, to go ride bikes or whatever, we were all over Blue Ash, right?
Yeah.
They knew where we were.
Yeah.
They knew who we were doing it with. And in most cases, they knew we were probably being stupid. But we were doing it.
Yeah.
And that was the three things that I told him.
Yeah.
And the eulogy was, I know where he is.
Yeah.
I know who he's with.
Yeah.
And I know I get to see him again.
Yeah.
So the joy that I think that brings me, it helps me with my post-traumatic stress. It helps me get closer to him, and it helps me understand the scripture a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I've dabbled with it through my career, you know, through my different branches, through the trials and tribulations of life. And I would say since Palm Sunday, I can tell you Palm Sunday was my first time going back, right? You know, you learn about why it's called Palm Sunday, Jesus riding in on his donkey to Jerusalem on the palm fronds, right? And I'm like, holy crap, you know, this is okay. And he's going to his demise.
And he knows it.
And he knows it, right? And I think to myself, is that me checking in to help? Right? And so, and I don't really talk about all this with my family because I'm not ready for that Band-Aid 100%, you know?
Well, sure.
But, you know, getting the message in my way. You know, I ask my daughter every time we go, hey, what'd you think of that? And she's, she's 12.
12 I bet that 12-year-old's got it.
Yeah, she's whippersnapper.
She knows smart. She knows it better than we do.
Yeah, she's smart.
My 13-year-old's like that.
Yeah. And it's just, I feel every Sunday I've been going since Palm Sunday. And I don't make an excuse not to. I make an excuse to, right? And
it's easier. A lot of times I used to say, well, I mean, we don't have to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and especially through COVID, it was like, well, I mean, it's on TV. We can just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. But now it's
I don't feel right if I'm not.
I'm going, come with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force you, but I'm going to lead by example, and I'm going to go. And I'm going to go learn. And just last week, because I'm going to the exploration services, explore about the church.
Sure.
The 2 earlier sessions are more biblical Bible verse learning. And I told my wife, I said, hey, why don't we swap over? And then she did the research for me and says, they're starting a new book in August. Well, it just happens that the 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 part that we're in now, the exploring, this next series should go up until August, so then we can roll into
Yeah.
the more righteous version.
I I enjoy the church that we're at because they go into, like, we're in the book of Acts right now.
Okay.
And we've been there for the last few months.
Wow.
When we first got into our house and we found that church, the entirety of 2024 was the book of Genesis.
Oh wow.
Like, we deep dived
that's
the book
good.
of Genesis, and I heard it from a perspective that I had never thought of, and it came to life.
And why do you think it hits harder? I'll give you my why. I think it hits harder because we're home.
We're home. We have families.
Yeah.
And we need to be leaders for our families.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, sinner of sinners. That resonated with me when you said that because, man, I could be so much better human, right? And
every day.
And as much as I try, it's so hard to unwire what we've been through for 20 plus years.
Oh, well.
And people think it's just easy. Hey, take a pill.
Oh yeah, here. Totally easy.
I was completely numb before, like you were talking about.
Oh, man,
I was also hyper crybaby on certain meds, right? And that's when I was like, dude, nothing's working. Let me go back. How do I go back to being that naive little boy? That naive little boy wasn't on anything.
I found myself, especially after 2019, 16 years after first combat,
right?
And it taking me that long. Like, yeah, I tried in 2012. They gave me trazodone. I went numb. I didn't like it, and I closed myself off again. And my wife was like, "Well, here we go again."
Yeah.
And I kept going back to my faith, and it was her the whole time.
Yeah.
It's always been her to ground me in the faith that she knew I had.
Yeah.
And so I've now become an advocate for what I said. Proverbs 27:17, right? Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
We were part of the spear of our country, and I know a lot of guys and gals that are out there that are thinking, I'm thrown away trash. I'm no good to anybody.
You're used
anymore.
up and don't have a purpose.
I'm useless.
Yeah.
But we're not. And what we're doing right now, what we're sitting here talking about, I guarantee you go home and in a week we're talking about this, and I hope people comment. I hope people like it. I hope it sparks conversation in families for a lot of the guys and gals that are out there that feel that way, that call one of your buddies.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of platforms out there, right? Like, we reached out on Facebook. I replied to what you were doing.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, yeah, I want to be a part of this.
Well, and what did you say when you came through the doors? It's been 25 years.
Yeah, maybe 30.
No shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like around the time you and Steve graduated, right?
Yeah.
and
But I remember us
we all
being
fall away, but like
you come. It's easy. It's
well,
like
and look at it, like we picked up like it was like
at a Friday night concert,
yeah, man. Hey,
running around doing
I'll
stupid
see you
stuff.
Friday night, Blue Ash concert.
Yeah, or at the
Yeah.
pool. You
Yeah,
know?
and so like we're at a point in our lives now that, and especially us both being retirees, right? It's the flavor's a little sweeter.
You want to hear a stat? Out of the 1% who serve, maybe 17% of that 1% make it to a full 20.
I had never actually heard that before.
Yeah. So 17% of 1%, 0.0017, something like that. Yeah, it's terrible.
That's super small.
Yeah.
That's super small. Well, and I'm a Marine, so of course there's a little pride in there.
Sure. I
right?
mean,
like
we all served.
and so like we all joke about it, but we all sign the dotted line,
right?
And
a blank check,
and that's the thing. We said that we would,
and we still will.
My oath, yeah,
it doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't. I said that oath 5 times.
Yeah,
and like my last one, the officer that oversaw it,
yeah,
he of course you have to go back and forth, right?
Right.
But at one point I'm like, I just want to, like, in my head I'm like, just let me say it.
Right.
I already know it.
Let's get it done.
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
we've already signed all the stuff.
Right.
This is just, yeah.
Yeah.
We went over a little bit.
It's okay.
We went over a little bit.
It's healthy.
I do appreciate you coming out, man.
Anytime.
I think we hit all the points that we wanted to hit today. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Christ 9 Line. So another friend of mine is he goes, I go to church with him, and he started a nonprofit. It is in its infancy. He started this like 2 weeks ago, and it's called Christ 9 Line. Go figure, he's a Fleet Marine Force corpsman.
Yeah.
And he came up with Christ 9 Line, and I think it's incredible that he's got this, and the website for everybody, and I'll post it in the description for this, but it's Christ9line.wix site.com. If you're out there, give it a look, give it a check. I'll put the website up on this video, and give them some love. Again, man, yeah, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
I appreciate being here. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
And for everybody out there, this is the 30-inch step. We just took a big one too. That was a really, really good one. We will see you hopefully next week. I'll be talking to a Marine veteran that I go to church with. I think he's got a very unique story, and I think that a lot of people out there will probably resonate with what he has to say. Going from the perspective of the beginning of your career in the Army, getting out medically, and trying to figure it out. And I think he's in that, but I feel like his story especially is very unique for the younger crowd, right? The under 35 crowd, where we're getting closer to 50, and so but yeah, we'll see you next week, and we're out here.